The Bills held off the Jets offense, and they win, ending a 2-game skid. They get a 3-point win, 23-20. Buffalo still has not lost 3 straight games with Josh Allen as the starting quarterback. The better story, though, on the losing side. That's where the better story always is. That's where it is here. The Jets have now lost 3 consecutive games, and a chance to go into first place in the AFC East goes by the boards as they lose at home. And they did it just days after they poleaxed their head coach. So let us discuss the question: how did the Jets look under the interim coach, the former Hawaii Rainbow Warrior, back in his college days, Jeff Ulbrich? How do they look? So I've got deja vu, Yiddish, and action thriller. And we will combine all of these things together, and we'll go to the great unwashed. Well, in a little bit, we'll go to the great unwashed. That would be you. But we begin with this. The sequel is the equal. The sequel is the equal for the Jets. Now, what do I mean by that? The Jets, you look at the team, and like, I recognize that guy. That guy was a first-round pick. That guy was a second-round pick. Like, these are building blocks to be a good team. They're not a good team, but they have the building blocks to be a good team. You see the various pieces. They don't fit together. And I did not notice any significant sea change with the new coach, head coach taking over, Jeff Ulbrich, who has continued on as the defensive coordinator. If anything, as an objective observer of the Jets, it is a deja vu situation. And I do mean the adult nightclub deja vu. The Jets roster is talented, but they're like strippers. They tease you, but they don't please you, right? That's the Jets. You're longing for more watching the Jets play. So they had 393 yards of offense, which is a lot for the Jets. They normally don't get to that level, but they only had 20 points in the game. And they end up doing the Plaxico Burress dance is what they end up doing, the Jets, and they shoot themselves in the foot. They had a toxic cocktail of penalties and mistakes. So the officiating in this game was absolutely obscene for both sides. Jets in the red zone, 4 chances in the red zone, 1 of 4 in the red zone. I didn't play in the NFL, but I believe that blows. How about third down? The Jets had 12 third down plays, only converted 4 of them. Now, 33%, if you're a baseball player hitting 330, you're pretty good. If you're a quarterback converting 33% of your third down plays, not all that good. 11 penalties, 110 yards of penalties, and a partridge in a pear tree, otherwise known as Greg Zuerlein, the former Ram kicker, missing a pair of field goals in this game. And the cherry on top of the poopy sundae for the Jets, Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be different. It's going to be different with Aaron Rodgers. He got the ball back after the Bills went up by 3. Plenty of time, plenty of timeouts to matriculate the ball down the field, to play hero ball, to do what the Hall of Fame quarterback would do. Lead his team down the field, suck up all the time like a Hoover vacuum cleaner, and then score the dagger touchdown with less than 30 seconds to go in the game. Did Aaron Rodgers do any of that? No. He instead threw a game-sealing pass that was picked off by the Buffalo Bills there. Interception. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And so while the offense did move the ball a little bit more in terms of yardage under Todd Downing, the results were ultimately the same. They might as well have just kept that Bobo, Nathaniel Hackett, as the play caller here. The last 3 weeks now, the most important stat, how many points do you score? The Jets are averaging 15.3 points per game. That stinks. Now, on the other side, in the winning locker room, how are Josh Allen and the Bills, they're in first place here, how are they feeling after this victory? So a breath as a team, a collective sigh of relief here. They can in unison all breathe at the same time, do that rhythmic breathing situation. If you're the Buffalo Bills, you're first place. Okay. Does anyone think they're on the same level of the other good teams in the AFC? They're not. Like, they're way behind Kansas City. They're way behind Baltimore. If you look at Big Ben's big board, Buffalo just not in the same pedigree as those teams, even though they're in first place. And just don't look at the fine print. Don't look at the fine print. This Buffalo squad now is missing something. That je ne sais quoi. They just don't have it, right? The Bills Mafia is sauced. The Bills offense, it looks like they might be sauced while they're playing here. They are teetering on the brink of mediocrity, even though they have Josh Allen at quarterback. Oh, my God. What happened to everyone gets fed? Remember that when they put up the big point total early in the year? So everyone's getting fed. We don't need Stephon Diggs. We're better off without Stephon Diggs and all that stuff. Okay. I'm watching the Bills on offense the last couple of weeks. They're wobbly. They look like they're punch drunk out there. That's the Bills. And they got Josh Allen, and they're just not very good. You are what your numbers indicate. They're not a very good offense right now. They started this game with touchdowns on 3 of the first 4 possessions. So you're like, all right, here we go. But then as the game went on, don't ask, right? And as my grandfather would have said, the Buffalo Bills here, the Yiddish term, excuse my Yiddish here, their offense was verkakta in terms of production, points, and whatnot the rest of the game. And since hanging 47 points on a team that quit, remember that gutless Jacksonville team that quit on that Monday night game, and you put up 47 points. Since that game, the Bills are averaging less than 18 points per game over the last 3 weeks. And needless to say, this is not the ideal situation for the Buffalo Bills. And Aaron Rodgers had to bail out Buffalo. Had to do the thing you can't do at the time you can't do it, through that interception and that wobbly pass to Mr. Williams, who slipped and fell and needed medical assistance as the Jets go down. The Bills get the win, but not impressed with Buffalo at all. And if you're a true member of Bills Mafia, you know this is not that impressive. It is not. All right, now, last word here. We head now to Motown the day after, and the fallout from star defensive end Aidan Hutchinson. Snap, crackle, pop, season ending. He literally went out and broke a leg. He went out and broke a leg against the Dallas Cowboys, sacking Dakota Prescott. And so now you are Dan Campbell. You have influence. You have power. You're in a position to make something happen. You are in charge. Now, I know Dan Campbell's not the GM and there's other people involved, but Dan Campbell's the head coach and he has a say in this. So you're Dan Campbell and the Lions. Who are you going to call to fill the void of Aidan Hutchinson, your star pass rusher, being out for the rest of the season? So the answer here, this is an action thriller. Okay, it's an action thriller. It's sinners and saints. That's who you call, not the New Orleans Saints. Let me explain. All right, first person I contact is a sinner, Max Crosby. If the Raiders are completely tanking, and based on starting Aidan O'Connell, I'm starting to think that's the plan. They just want to lose, and get a top 3 pick in the draft. If that is the goal, and you're the Lions, you call up the Raiders and say, what's it going to take to get Max Crosby out of Vegas? And you figure you'll keep him around, and what a dynamic 1-2 punch that would be when Aidan Hutchinson comes back next year. But in the meantime, you don't throw away a season because your defense can't stop anybody. And then you also put out feelers to the patron saint of the NFL world, J.J. Watt. Now, J.J. Watt, who is a meathead broadcaster at CBS. One thing the world needs is more ex-jock meatheads doing broadcasting. So you got J.J. Watt there, who has said, hey, even though I'm a Midwestern guy, I'm over from Wisconsin, but I'm not interested in that. I only want to play for the Texans, and that's it. He's indicated he is not interested in the Lions, but that doesn't stop you, right? That's just the public consumption. Everyone's got a price. And so if you're Dan Campbell and the Lions and you say, hey, this is just add water. This is a just add water situation. It's Temptation Island. It's the team that was in the Final Four in the NFL last year. The Lions are playing very well again this year. And one of the favorites in the NFC, the Niners, I don't know if you know this, the Niners have fallen off a bit. And so the NFC is wide open. And you're the Lions. You're like, all right, we got something going here. We got something cooking. And you need to replace Aidan Hutchinson. So you say, hey, J.J. Watt, why don't you wait? You don't have to come right now. Why don't you wait till the final 2 months of the season? We'll bring you in late November. You can celebrate Thanksgiving. Right after Thanksgiving, we'll bring you in. And you can play from Thanksgiving and then just through February. hopefully till the Super Bowl in the Bayou in New Orleans. And there you go. And if I'm the Lions, I'm all in. And, well, you got to save the draft pick. No, you don't. And if J.J. Watt doesn't want to play for you, you offer the Raiders multiple first-round picks and throw a second-round pick in, and you can do a pick exchange for Max Crosby and just throw that out there to the Raiders. And, again, the Godfather offer will get you whoever you want. And the Lions have all their first-round picks and all their second-round picks over the next couple of years, so they have a loaded arsenal of scratcher tickets to toss out. So, again, if you're the Lions, free, unsolicited, overnight radio advice. You get the sinners and the saints. The patron saint, J.J. Watt, you say, hey, you want to come play for the Lions? And then if he doesn't want to, you call the Raiders up and say, what's it going to take to get Max Crosby, who, if I'm not mistaken, shoved one of his coaches on the sidelines in the game on Sunday, which is generally a sign you're not happy where you are. And I don't care all the touching up and say, oh, no, that's not what it was. Football decorum is not to shove one of your coaches on the sidelines.